viewers, welcome back. My name is Adeola Fayehun. Very recently, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned some fraudsters, including top government officials such as former governors. Now, to talk to us about how the EFCC can be more effective under this new administration and to assess their performance under the previous administration is Nigerian lawyer, socialist, critic, columnist, and human rights activist who also prosecuted some of the EFCC cases. Please welcome Mr. Festus Keyamo. Mr. Festus, welcome to SaharaTV.
Thank you for talking to me.
Sure. Let's start with something very recent. You recently said that the former petroleum minister, Alison Madwike, should be probed. And we're just wondering, is this about the $20 billion or something else?
Well, it's about a whole lot of issues. But in that my petition, I was very particular about what has come to be called the crude oil swap deals. Under this arrangement, we never knew that a lot of our crude oil were given to private oil companies in exchange for their bringing in petroleum products. Under one arrangement, they were supposed to take it out, refine the products, and then ship them back to Nigeria, either the petroleum product or their byproducts. And under the other arrangement, they were supposed to be given the crude oil. They would sell the crude oil in the international market and then use the money to import fuel, petroleum products, into the country. Now, there have been reports in the papers of late that under this arrangement, certain Nigerian companies, oil and gas companies, made very huge unwarranted profits because the simple reason is that they imported far less than the crude oil that they got. Under this arrangement, many of them bought private jets, they bought properties around the world, and began to live large, under the guise of this type of arrangement. And of course, certain individuals in NNPC were seen as collaborators in this deceitful and grand plot. Now, before the minister left office, she actually picked up her pen and wrote a petition to the EFCC, inviting the EFCC to probe these individuals and these deals. And I asked myself the simple question. It's a bit curious that a minister who had supervisory authority over these individuals and these issues, and who had access to all these documents that he could have easily called for them, given queries to this, why would she wait to the last minute, to write a petition to the EFCC to probe, these deals? And I told myself, I said, look, it's not the first person that runs to a police station to complain that is always the victim of a crime. The person can also be the perpetrator of the crime. So we should not be fooled by the fact that he had to write a petition inviting the EFCC to probe the issues. As head of that ministry, under whom these acts were supposed to have taken place, she has to take some measure of responsibility. So I'm wondering,
though, after submitting this petition, if in any case they did not probe her, are you prepared to take further steps?
Oh, like I've always done. Like I've always done over my life, all the years. Remember, I had to go to court and threaten to prosecute Lawal, who was caught and hiding dollars in his car before the state decided to wake up. If not, they swept even the tape, even in the face of a tape, where they saw him confessing on tape, asking for bribe on tape. Nothing was done over a year. In fact, the matter has been swept.
We all remember that. And while we're still talking about cases, what should we expect of the Femi Fani-Kayode's case?
Oh, no, I don't know. It's up to the judiciary. We have done our best, and it's up to the judiciary.
I see. Also, a lot of Nigerians are wondering, because there was a report that the President Buhari has asked you to withdraw from prosecuting former governor of Bayelsa State, Simipri Silva. Is this true?
In fact, I laughed when I saw those types of comments on some sites and gossip columns, and I really laughed at all.
So it's not true.
cannot, will not, and will never, ever, do such a thing if you know who he is. Never. In fact, he has no idea at all as to what is even going on now in those departments. He has been so distracted by the issue of insurgency, and he doesn't even know what is happening about the prosecution for certain individuals for now.
I see. And so we should believe that you are bent on ensuring justice when regarding the former governor of Bayelsa State.
Oh, no, all I did was to return the file to the EFCC for someone else to continue the prosecution.
Okay. I
did not withdraw the charge. The charge was never withdrawn. At that time, at the point I withdrew from the matter, I only sent the file back to the EFCC for continued prosecution by another person. It was a decision I took myself. And for the first time, maybe I should explain to you, because I've never explained to anybody at all before.
Okay.
You see, under the ethics of the legal profession, in the ethics of the legal profession, when you find yourself in a position that you will not have the opportunity to use all your skills, you will not have the opportunity to have all the freedom to do a particular matter the way you would love to do it, and the way the law allows you to do it, and the way the ethics of the profession allows you to do it, especially prosecution, it is better to give it to another person who has the freedom, who will have the freedom to do it. It will be more fraudulent. It will be more fraudulent if you find yourself in a position where you may be compromised or you may be too close to the accused person. It's more fraudulent to continue with that prosecution when you know, in fact, that accused person will meet you at different fora. You may meet over dinner. You may meet at party meetings. You may meet at different places. Imagine a situation, Adeola, where I finish from court prosecuting a person today. Tomorrow, the press now sees us going into a party meeting.
I see.
What would they think? I hope you understand me.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the explanation.
That's why some people will continue with that kind of prosecution in a fraudulent manner. And that is wrong. Even a judge, when you find yourself...
So you did that to avoid conflict of...
It is better to avoid conflict and confusion, and even, conflict of interest to withdraw, so that someone else who has the freedom will do the matter. That is the best way, and that is the way the ethics of our profession dictates for anybody to behave. I
see. Okay, so that makes it clearer. But while we're talking about former governors, do you have any update on the former governor of Akwa Ibom, that is ex-governor Akpabio, over being alleged to have stolen 108 billion naira? And apparently we're hearing that he's still living in the government house.
Well, I don't know about it. I don't have the details of that.
Okay.
I read, though, in some sites that he may be living in the former government house. That, of course, has not been confirmed or denied by anybody. And these days, I think we have to be careful about how we rush to comment on anything we have not confirmed. If these issues are confirmed, perhaps we'll go ahead and then comment on them. But really, I have no information as to these allegations.
How about his case, about the 108 billion naira fraud case?
No, I have no information about that.
Okay.
The EFCC may have an information about that.
Okay. So I was reading an article where you said that President Buhari can appoint less than 37 ministers. And not only am I wondering the basis for this, but right now a lot of Nigerians are worried that Mr. President has not appointed any ministers. And I'm wondering your opinion about that as well.
Okay, your question is two-pronged, and I'll take them piecemeal.
Okay.
The first one is about the appointment of 37 ministers.
Less than
37 ministers. This is a situation where we find ourselves when we are all struggling to see how we can reduce the size of government and save a lot of costs, free up funds to do essential, deliver essential services to the people. Now, I consider 37 ministers a complete drain, waste on national resources. And then we have to be extremely ingenious in interpreting provisions of the Constitution to help the system. The Constitution was made by man. It was not made, it is not immutable. The Constitution is not a document that was made to bring suffering to the people. Now, the Constitution says that the president must appoint one minister per state, in all the 36 states of the federation, and then one minister also for the FCC, making it 37. And the simple question you must ask yourself is that, one, is the president given a time limit within which to appoint ministers? And the simple answer is no. The president is not given a time limit to appoint ministers. Secondly, what time limit does the president have to fulfill that provision of appointing one minister per state? The Constitution does not say that you must appoint ministers within the first 1 month, or 2 months, or 6 months, or 1 year. If that is the case, then the government, you see, the simple interpretation is that the president has a period of 4 years during his tenure to obey that part of the Constitution that says you must appoint one minister per state.
It looks like you're answering my second question already, right? About the fact that a lot of people are worried that he has not appointed any minister.
Well, I'm answering to the legal angle, but I'm going to come. I'll also answer it, in even the practical angle, not the legal angle now. Now, if the president has 4 years within which to fulfill that provision of appointing one minister per state, what stops him, really, from appointing them piecemeal, from appointing them in batches? Well, there's nothing that stops him. It is his complete discretion to do so. One may argue that politically, all of them must be part of the Federal Executive Council at the same time and all of that. But really, come to think of it, it is not because a minister comes from a state that you get information about that state and what is happening in that state. It is absolutely not as a result of their being in the Federal Executive Council. So that argument will not stand. So I respectfully submit that since the president is not strong to appoint ministers in a particular time, he has 4 years to do so. If suppose he's delaying now, nobody can go to court to force him. Other presidents in the past, people forget really that there's no president in the past really that has appointed ministers earlier than July, after swearing in May 29. I remember the last time it's dragged on to about July also.
During President Jonathan's time?
Yes, I think under President Jonathan, under Yar'Adua also. But on 2 or 3 occasions, it has dragged on to about July for them to be appointed. And guess what? People fail to realize that the ministries function without hindrance, even without ministers. People are thinking that government is at a standstill.
Some people are complaining, though, that a lot of people are complaining that so many funds are not being released in many ministries because they don't have a minister right now.
It's not the presence of the ministers that ensure the release of funds. Don't forget that President Buhari, I even made a regulation a few weeks ago, and that is what should really be the situation, that ministers should have nothing to do with funds. Ministers should have absolutely nothing to do with funds. The permanent secretaries are there to run the ministries. So
you are saying that even without ministers, ministries can function?
They function 101% without ministers. The reason is the ministers are only political heads to make sure that the government's overall vision and program are being implemented by that ministry and the way they run their they run the ministry.
So if the minister is not there, who signs in terms of getting funds?
The permanent secretaries are there. They sign. The permanent secretaries sign. They go on. They go on normally. It depends on the instruction of the president. Don't forget that all of them are bureaucrats who report to the president. I mean, look at the recent meetings they have held.
I see.
All right. The fact that there was no defense minister, let me explain this, I'm sorry. The fact that there was no defense minister, did this stop Buhari from meeting presidents of Chad, of Mali and all that? I mean, Chad, Cameroon and Niger. The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Defense the other day briefed everybody about what was going on because he is the person that has complete knowledge of what had been happening up to that point that they handed over to Buhari, and he briefed everybody fully as to the situation.
So what would be your ideal number of ministers if we are cutting down in the number of ministers?
Look, my ideal number of ministers will be far less than 37. I see so many ministries that are completely duplicated, and they should be merged. In fact, some ministries were merged in the past before, And all of a sudden, because they wanted to create jobs for the boys, they were split into 3 or 4. I remember there was a time, was it about Babangida or somebody, that we had Ministry of Youth, Sports, Social Development, and Women Affairs, something like that.
Okay, so if we should cut it down, would you say 30, 20, 10?
I think the ideal, something in the region of 19, 20 would be ideal.
19 or 20 ministries would be sufficient to run the affairs of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to move on to the next question. And as you know, during President Goodluck Jonathan's time, the EFCC was known to arrest so many young people, graduates, for internet scam, as well as the fact that so many people that were arrested were later released or bailed. A lot of us are wondering why the EFCC wasn't that effective under President Goodluck Jonathan, and of course, how they can be effective under President Muhammadu Buhari.
No, thank you very much. I think this is an area I really like to talk about. Listen, let us be honest about it all. The EFCC can only be as good as the president of the country wants it to be. It has nothing to do with the head of that agency. It has nothing to do with the operatives of that agency. It has nothing to do with their motivation, with how they appoint the person or not. It depends on the will of the president to make the EFCC function.
Okay.
Listen, all chairmen of the EFCC, they have been as good as the president allowed them to work.
Are you indirectly saying that Mr. Jonathan had to do with why they were not effective during his time?
Now, it is obvious. When I was shouting to the rooftops during the election, the electoral campaign, that Jonathan did not have the appetite to fight corruption, I was speaking from the bowels of my heart. I was not speaking from the top of my head. I was speaking from the deepest part of my heart, because I knew this. He confirmed that much during his campaign when he was saying that people who stole very little amounts in the past were sent to jail by Buhari in 1984. And I said, wait a minute, is it about the amount of money you steal? Or is it about the breach of trust of a public office? So it is just the will of the president that makes the EFCC function or not to function. And that will would include, one, non-interference in cases. Because you know what? The biggest people or the biggest victims of EFCC are actually normally members of the ruling party. Don't you see? They are not you and I that are scrapping a living. It's not Adeola, it's not Keyamo, it's not Shawari. It's not the ordinary people like us. The people that the EFCC actually set up for are the politically exposed persons. And those who are politically exposed are those who are mostly members of the ruling party. If that is the case, 80% or 90% of the cases that come to EFCC regarding politically exposed persons, those persons have access to the president because the ruling party. I'm not saying they will just walk into the villa, but they know the chairman of the party who can call the president. They know the chairman of the chairman of the board of trustees who can call the president. They know the vice president who can go to the president. They know everybody who can talk to the president. They know everybody. So when you see that a particular period, you are not seeing a lot of politically exposed persons being turned into the EFCC, it's because the president has refused the EFCC to function and to pick them up. So it's as simple as that. They may not give direct instructions. Listen, it may not be that I am not stupid enough to say it's giving direct instructions. But really, normally, a chairman of the EFCC who wants to survive would normally, practically, go and clear things up in the villa before he takes certain steps.
I see.
The law does not say you should go to the villa. The law does not say, but if you want to survive politically, The honest truth is that you must find yourself with files at the villa every day or every week to say clear things of say, sir, we want to brief you about certain things that have happened. And after the briefing, if the president's face does not tell you to go ahead, if you want to keep your job, you wait for his face to tell you to go ahead before you can go ahead.
I see. So how can we avoid that under this new administration? How can the EFCC be
How you
more
can avoid
effective?
that is very simple. Tell the chairman of the EFCC, I don't want to see you at the villa.
So Buhari should tell the chairman.
If the person is my best friend, arraign the person in court. We can explain later.
I see.
If
So,
the person is my best minister, arraign him in court. We can come and explain to me later after you have arraigned him in court. But arraign him first. Don't come and clear for me.
are you
It
saying
is
these
your
are things that Buhari should say?
Yes. Go ahead and perform your duties. I don't want to see you in the villa with files. A chairman of an EFCC has no business going to the villa with files. When you arrange the person, as a matter of routine, come and explain to me what he has done. Even if my minister.
So it looks like you are advocating for the EFCC to be completely independent. And that leads to my next question about the idea of having an independent court handling EFCC. What do you think about that?
It is not the all-cure elixir. Independent court will not be the complete solution. It's not the silver bullet. It's not a single silver bullet that settles the problem. No, but it's a major step. One, because you will have courts that are specially equipped with gadgets, with stenographers and others that can hasten proceedings.
I see. So you would advocate for that? You would advocate for an independent court to handle
I will
EFCC?
advocate for that. But I'll tell you why I'm advocating for that. There is no way you make noise about fighting corruption. Even if Buhari is different, he picks up 100 people every day. He slams them into prison, into court, into the cell. He tells them to charge them to court. No matter the volume of people you arrest every day, if you don't get convictions in court, then the whole effort is useless. It is all drama and nothing more. It's all drama. You must get convictions in court. That's our biggest pain in the EFCC. So we need to focus our attention on how to rejig the criminal justice system.
I see.
Adeola, not only, getting special courts. The second most important thing we must do is to make sure that we rejig the criminal justice system in such a way that we do not stay proceedings in criminal trials. The biggest problem we face today is the stay of proceedings in criminal trials that is bogging down the cases of 2007. The first generation governors, their cases are still in court.
Exactly.
And
I'm running out of time. I hate to interrupt you, but I just want to ask my very last question. President Buhari recently made a statement that he would recover stolen billions of dollars with the help of the U.S. and the Western world. And we're just wondering if this is something that the EFCC would be involved in.
Well, it depends on the president. The president has the complete power to know which agency he wants to use.
Okay.
He can use the Office of the Attorney General. You can use the office of the police. You can use the police, the regular police. You can use the Interpol. Interpol is part of the police. You can use the EFCC. But he's the president and commander-in-chief. And he can use any of these agencies who are directly under his control to do his duties.
Thank you so much for your time. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to have one last say.
It's very simple. The present administration must build on the overwhelming support of Nigerians, must build on the trust Nigerians have reposed in them. They must not disappoint Nigerians. They must, as a matter of fact, face three critical areas. They can't solve all the problems in 4 years, but three critical areas that Nigerians will apply them in the next 4 years. One, they must fight corruption frontally and get people convicted if they have committed crimes. Two, they must fight insurgency. The government must fight insurgency and bring Boko Haram to its knees. And 3, there must be light. Power must come back to Nigeria. Electric power must come back to Nigeria. These are the 3 areas they must concentrate all their energies and efforts in.
I see. Thank you so much, Mr. Keyamo, for joining us today on Sahara TV. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for talking to me.
Yeah. All right, viewers, that has been Nigerian lawyer, socialist, critic, columnist, and human rights activist, Mr. Festus Keyamo. I'm sure that you've enjoyed the interview. Stay tuned. We have much more to come.